Why'd you roll your eyes back when you did that?
Because my teeth got cold.
Oh, skill issue.
Do you guys not have like sensitive teeth?
I mean, if I bite into ice cream, yes.
Well, it's anything with me. Like if something's too cold, because I stick these in the refrigerator so that the ice doesn't just melt.
Bro's a genius.
So it's colder than it usually is. So whenever I do the slurp, I have to be a little careful.
Yeah.
Because my teeth get cold.
You could just use a straw.
Yeah, but then I don't get the slurp. That's why I give all y'all straws and not me.
I almost dropped this because my hands are...
Your hands are so oiled up right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so for context...
No, please, fill us in, bro.
Caleb has really, really dry hands. So before we started tonight, I had to get him some lotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were bad.
So
I mean...
now he can't hold anything.
Caleb works hard.
I do work hard.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean...
And there's no problem that they get all ashy. There's no problem at all.
Bro, it just gets on the lens.
Bro, I see some on the table.
It's got just like you guys can't see this, but there's just like a little circle of dust.
Ryan said, "Hold on, I need some extra seasoning on this chicken." I said, "Say no more, fam."
And I'm gonna eat chicken tonight too.
Your chicken appetite's
This is
gone.
freaking crazy.
Good start.
Yeah.
All right.
So who do we have here today?
Drip.
King.
Hello.
Drip King and Drip Janitor.
Yeah.
Sat together.
So me being named Caleb and also Caleb here, we have Drip King and Drip in training.
Yes.
I'm a Drip in trainee right now, so trying to be dripped out like you, bro.
Give me like a month, we'll get you there.
You selling that course online?
Buy my 10-week course, my master class.
10-week course, be dripped out like Drip King. So what are you drinking tonight, Caleb?
We have a vanilla iced latte, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
That's kind of
Very good.
I put my heart and soul into that one.
I can taste it. It's really good.
I wanted to make sure that it was drippy enough for you.
I'm honored.
Oh my god, I'm drippy.
I'm sorry.
No, that's hard.
Oh my god.
Wait, what clothing brands do you recommend Drip in Training to get, bro?
I'm wearing H&M right now.
You need something reborn, bro.
Oh.
That's kind of hype.
A week from Friday.
Week from Friday.
Absolutely.
How much does one of those shirts go for?
It's free for you guys, but
What?
$35 for everyone else.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's good quality, right? That's hype. That's
I
like
can't wait
that's
to
like
rock
heavyweight.
them. I'm
It
gonna
looks
be
like the
rocking
same
that
quality as like Young LA or Gymshark.
It
Yeah.
does.
I'll hook you guys up.
Young LA,
That would
but
be so
Christian. Oh my god.
No, now we don't need to do the sponsor us. We have the Drip
Don't
King.
sponsor us.
Sponsored by Reborn.
Already being
Facts.
sponsored.
Yo, let's
I don't know what to
go.
do with myself
I was
anymore.
gonna say you can't say your tagline.
Thanks for
anymore.
sponsoring us.
Of
Can't
course.
say your tagline anymore.
man.
so.
This is insane.
All right, guys, peace out. I'm just gonna leave.
We've already had such a productive day. Just filmed commercial / kind of hype video for the Reborn brand. Did a little interview, did some cool stuff. Very excited for that. Right here in the studio, actually. So it's crazy. We just went from here to here pretty much. Just moved a couple things and now we're back here. Really easy, simple setup. But Caleb,
It's a God-given gift. We have this basement, man.
yo, shout
Yes,
out,
sir.
Shout out
to
to this
God.
basement. Oh,
No, shout out to God.
Shout out to God. I was literally telling
That guy
Caleb. I was telling Caleb when we were first thinking about moving in here, myself and Charles Brandt, former housemate, also producer of the podcast, one of our producers. Shout out Charles. Yes, give him a big clap. He's right over there.
He just raised his glass. We need a Charles Cam.
We need a Charles Cam. But I was literally telling them, I said, Charles and I walked in this basement, and the realtor, the lady, our property manager, she said, you guys can use this as an office, as a gym. And we both looked at each other. We said, studio.
Yeah.
Studio. And this is what we use, a God-given place for
you
us.
sure she didn't recommend it, bro? She's like, weight room, training room, podcast studio for the Offer and podcast.
Sorry.
Did she predict the podcast?
Foreshadowing?
2023?
She's in the multiverse. She just
She's part of the
transported me.
TVA or something.
Facts.
Oh boy, that was a Marvel moment right
Yeah,
there.
sorry, guys.
We had one of those last
Yeah,
episodes.
we did have one of those last episodes.
We went on a huge Marvels tangent, bro.
We did.
That was hype.
Yeah, we did. Caleb, what are some of your favorite movies?
Yeah.
Facts.
Gotta know about that.
Favorite movie?
I mean, it doesn't have to be one movie. It could be multiple.
Can be multiple, yeah.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
Probably the funniest movie, in my opinion, Step Brothers. I love anything Will Ferrell's in.
Really?
You love
A
Will
good
Ferrell?
comedy. I love Will
That sounds
Ferrell.
great.
Or Talladega Nights. Or
Yeah,
Talladega.
Talladega.
yeah.
Did I say it wrong?
Talladega, mate.
Yo, I can't
Talladega
wait to watch Talladega Nights.
Okay.
No, that's a good one.
Yes, that's a great one. I love that one.
Rocky, those are classics.
Rocky, yes.
Rambo. I used to
Rambo's
love
great.
Rambo. Those are
Rambo's nice.
classics
Rambo's
too.
so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rambo is hype.
It's so weird because I saw them out of order. I saw the other movies, and how many are there in the series?
There's got to be what,
Four?
4 or 5 at this point. Yeah.
I saw the ones where he's in Vietnam before the first one, First Blood.
Yeah.
And
Were you confused?
I was confused. I was like, wait a minute. I thought he was in Vietnam. Why is he in like Wisconsin or wherever it is? Like, what's happening here?
Bro took a field trip.
I was like,
Yeah.
hold on a
Maybe
second.
bro's in the multiverse.
True.
Oh my gosh. But no, great film.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Well, your multiverse character would be Dripless King.
Dripless King.
Evil Drip King? Wait, is that Evil Drip King or is that just
Evil
another
Drip
thing?
Evil Drip King be like,
Nah.
you don't have 20 seconds
When
for
Drip-
God.
when-
Yeah, just like an atheist.
you don't have time for this.
Bro, when Drip King and Dry King are in the same room,
Dry King.
Wow.
You know that's
would
Evil
explode,
Drip
bro.
That'd be
King.
crazy.
Says,
The
do you have
world would
20 seconds for
collapse.
Darwin?
Mid King.
nah, Mid King.
20 seconds
He's just
for
got
Darwin.
clown shoes on. He's wearing
Instead of the reborn, he has the unborn.
Unborn, no.
lukewarm.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my
We're just giving him
God.
so many ideas
Crazy.
for April Fool's Day. It's just that's all he does the whole time.
Lukewarm
The,
drop.
the
Just like-
lukewarm king.
No, he's just like, do you have 20 seconds for Darwin? And at the end, he plugs his clothing brand. He's like, anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and make sure to check out Unborn.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's got a fish slowly evolving on it. Instead of the fish.
Wait, it devolved?
It's evolving.
It's evolving.
It's
just
a monkey
backwards.
changing into a man.
Yeah.
That picture right
That'd
there,
be
it's just a
crazy.
monkey and a bunch of slow.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my gosh. Dude, your tattoos are sick, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
Can you talk
Appreciate
about
you.
your tattoos? I want to know about these.
Yeah, so crown of thorns around the wrist.
Very nice.
Saint Michael.
Awesome.
The Lord is my strength. Creation story. I think the rosary beads look super sick.
Yeah.
The 2 birds. This was like resembled myself before Christ and then like after Christ. On the back, it actually does say reborn, but
that's fine.
Subtle flex, all right.
yeah, the butterfly though, like he started as a caterpillar. It's me before
Yeah.
finding Jesus, and then like
You
flourishing into a
blossom.
butterfly after.
Dude.
I think I got all of them right.
Oh, the
yeah,
nails.
the 3-nailed cross. Yep, and I think that's
That's
all
fire.
of
That's a
them on there.
sick cross.
Would
Oh,
you
and then the
get
sword right here on the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, the dagger, the,
Oh, the dagger.
sword of spirit dagger.
That's
Dude.
hard.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
I love the shading on the beads.
Yeah, my tattoo artist Rocky.
I think
Back
the
home, he's the
rosary's
man.
probably my favorite.
your
Yeah.
tattoo artist is Rocky?
That's his name, Rocky. Yeah, he's the man. Sean
Yo,
Rocky.
he's, I'll tattoo you up right now,
Yeah.
man. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you about Vietnam.
I could tattoo you up.
Let me tell you about Vietnam.
There's jungles there.
Jungle's in.
Let's go.
Would you ever get more tattoos on the other arm? Or?
So my first like tattoo is actually my parents' birthdays there.
Oh, that's hype.
That's
But
hard.
I'm not gonna do anything else on that arm though.
Okay.
Is there
Yeah.
like any specific reason?
I just like the aesthetic of like the one arm.
The sleeve.
The
Yeah,
sleeve.
and I have my right leg too, so I'm not
Dang.
gonna do any left side of the body really.
What's on
That's
your right
fine.
leg? You don't have to stick up your leg.
He's just like, all right, guys.
So my like second tattoo on the top of my thigh is Veni Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. So Julius
Ooh,
Caesar.
that's
and then I
fun.
have every one of my family's birthdays. My sister is there, and then I have 40 on my shin, which was my lacrosse number. There's a long story behind that one. Isaiah 41:10. Faith over fear, and then I have a massive sword on the back of my calf, which is like the sword of spirit in Ephesians. So
When
yeah.
you do calf extensions, does the sword just
unsheath.
I don't hit legs, so unfortunately not. I haven't hit legs in a while.
What are you talking about?
Bro.
You're only required to do 2 leg days a year, so you got time.
Did you hit your quota?
I probably did like half of them, yeah.
Oh.
It's probably a good one leg day.
Wait,
You're on
why
your
don't
way
you
then.
do it?
Well, because of lacrosse, I hate being sore with my legs, and I don't know. I just hate hitting legs.
I mean, that's valid.
Yeah,
As
it's
guys,
hard to
it's
hit
a
legs.
requirement.
You do
Yeah.
a lot of cardio then.
I do a lot of upper body, and I do a lot of I'll do like incline treadmill.
That's hard
Dude,
for like weight loss,
Yeah,
like losing fat.
yeah, stay lean,
yeah.
try to stay lean.
Yes.
how
That's
much?
hype.
How long are you on the incline treadmill?
I used to do like 40 minutes after lift,
Good lord.
but it's not too fast.
Oh my god.
No, yeah.
So long.
What do you do, like 3 and 3?
3 and 3, yeah.
Oh, I'm on the same wavelength as the Drip King, bro.
That's
Some
Bro,
steady,
3 and
some
3
steady
is
state
hype.
cardio. Get some videos edited. Goes by really quick.
What's 3
Wait,
and
that's
3?
awesome.
3 miles per hour on 3 incline.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's pretty easy.
Dang.
I feel like they're looking at us like we're dumb.
You can scroll on Subway Surfers for a bit too. Just,
True.
I know that's exactly why. How did I know that's what you were thinking? Like, bro, I can do so much Subway Surfers while doing that, bro.
Imagine if the treadmill had Subway Surfers just
oh my gosh,
right
I
there.
feel like I
Oh,
was.
then he'd be
running
on
with
there
him?
all the time.
Yo,
Like a
that's
6-hour cardio session.
that's a business idea. Imagine a treadmill with Subway Surfers for people like you.
And like a fidget spinner on it.
Yeah, no,
You're just oing, oing, oing.
everything that people like. They have this like a zero attention span. It's just whatever. Fidget spinner, Subway Surfers. What else? That one game on TikTok that's like the ball bouncing on the circle
Yeah.
and it goes through the hole. and
Gym butt for brain rot. Give me 15 sets of whatever the heck you want to do.
That's
as
kind
long
of
as
hype.
You're just oing,
No,
oing.
give me 15 sets of 15 seconds.
All right.
Bro does one set. Dang, bro, you lost me. I'm done. Attention span's over.
Maybe that's how we do increase attention spans.
Yeah.
We just do hypertrophy, but for attention span.
Yes, exactly. Love that. Good idea, Ryan.
Thank you, thank you.
You
you're
work
full-
out strength and mental strength.
Buy my
That's
fitness
kinda hype.
program.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Mental fitness.
The picture is you just.
I see it, bro.
I don't know. Just have like my brain, put it in Canva, and just like a strong brain, like a flexing brain or something. I don't know.
I could see that. I could see that.
Kevin, work on that for me. Bro.
Yeah, I got you.
Put it in ChatGPT.
I was about to say that. I'm gonna put it through AI and see what it generates.
Ryan, but with big head muscle.
Oh, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday, bro. So, Caleb, love to hear about your tattoos. That's super sick. Also, what's the significance behind the number 40 for you?
So when I was in 7th grade, I played attack for lacrosse, which is like the position where you score a lot. I got cut from the 2 club teams I tried out for. I kind of quit for like 6 months. And then this guy from my high school, his name was Luke. He was a face-off guy, and he taught me how to take face-offs, which is what I ended up being able to play like college for, which is super cool.
You're a face-off specialist.
Yeah.
essentially.
So he was a senior in high school when I was in 8th grade, so he gave me his number when I came to high school. And if it weren't for him teaching me, I never would have played in college or anything. So
Holy moly.
yeah.
Dang.
Pretty much changed like the whole course of my life, that guy, with that. So really
Wow.
cool.
Dang. And the number 40. That's
His
so.
name was Luke.
Yeah, Luke Bernasconi.
Shout out to Luke.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Luke
he's a good dude.
Bernascotti.
Bernasconi. Yeah, he's a beast.
Not that I know anything about
Bernasconi.
football, but did you also play football or dabble in it?
I did growing up to
Oh,
8th
sick.
grade, yeah.
And then you transitioned over to lacrosse.
Just lacrosse in high school, yeah.
Oh,
But
sick.
football, hockey, wrestling.
What made you choose
Holy.
lacrosse over all of the others?
Yeah.
I think I was just better at it than the other sports. And when I started taking face-offs, I kind of was like, all right, if I drop everything, there's a chance I could play in college. Opposed to other sports, I was not going to go
Right.
too far with it. So
Yeah.
the goal is to get a scholarship in college. So that was kind of just went all in on it. And that's
Yeah.
what my mindset's like. I don't like to diversify myself with a ton of different things. Just try to go all in on a couple. So yeah.
Become great at several
Yes.
things.
Exactly.
Just go- okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
like a master of one thing. And like
Yeah,
you're a
master of-
Right.
instead of
yeah.
it, because if you just do like a jack of all trades, then it's kind of like you're
Exactly.
all over the
There are
That's
people who
hype.
can do that. Be a jack of all trades. I can't do that.
not me.
I have to have a couple things that I'm
just
good
really
at.
good at. They hyper
Yes.
focus on like camera stuff, the
Yes.
Roman Empire,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Remember when that was a thing?
Dude,
The
it still
Roman
is. I still think about it.
No, not that. It's like
And then
you
he
ever-
clearly does. Too.
Oh my gosh. I'm saying like the meme where it was like, oh, this is my Roman Empire and Roman Empire. I'm gonna
Bro, I
die.
think.
Right? No, like it was
I
like
think bro's
Gabriella and
speech might
Troy
be
at,
impaired.
oh my gosh.
No, let him speak. Let him
No, like did you not on TikTok there's probably like
Mm-hmm.
Gabriella and Troy edits and then people are like, oh, this is my Roman
Yeah,
Empire.
I remember when that was a phase.
Okay, heard.
Yeah.
We're back all of 2 months ago.
No, that was 2 years ago, probably, when that was a whole thing. I swear. it
There's
was-
no way.
Yeah.
There's no way, Caleb. Was that 2 years ago?
I'm hitting like the in-between.
Oh,
6
like
months
a year
ago?
and a half ago.
Open up.
Actually, it probably was like 2 years ago.
Open up. Yeah, I was gonna
That
say.
was
I
a
feel like it
while
was
ago.
2023.
Future Charles put like the Oppenheimer like music over me going.
Oh
That's
my,
hype.
oh my gosh, Caleb, I love to hear that stuff about the number 40 and all that,
Yes, sir.
but lot to unpack with you because you have so much. So just want to hear a little bit about how you came to Christ. I know that's a massive story. I know you've talked about it on social media. That's a big thing for you. So can you kind of just go over your testimony and how you came to Christ?
Of course, yeah. So I grew up Catholic, but like never really knew the Lord at all. Through high school, I was definitely like a big people pleaser. Was in very, very secular, worldly relationships from like a very young age. Like cracked the seal with that, and just thought that was what normal life was. It was all my friends were doing. I got to UMass in my first year there. I was just at like a top 10 party school in the nation. Did not know the Lord, was not seeking the Lord, trying to fit in with everybody. And I always knew like deep in my heart that wasn't the life I wanted to live. I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew it wasn't that. So that sophomore year, got in a relationship, like went like fully sober, like tried to stay away from that stuff. It was a very worldly relationship though. And then that summer of my sophomore year, it was kind of crazy. I was like I had my best year ever with lacrosse, and that was like my whole identity. And I thought once like I got the starting spot and I played good and all those things, that like whatever I was trying to seek in my heart would finally be filled. And it was funny because after that season, I'd accomplished like everything lacrosse-wise I wanted, and I was so empty. And I was like kind of depressed because I was like, wait, why is this not enough? And then my girlfriend and I broke up right around one of the same times. One of my teammates, Aiden Kaminska, passed away out of nowhere. And that put me in like the darkest spot I had ever been. And then God put like my best friend now, Gavin Leonard, in my life. He was a social media guy when I started doing social media a little bit. And he texted me like randomly a week after like the breakup and just being so down bad. He's like, hey, if you ever want to hang out, we should. And the first time we hung out, I told him, I was like, I'm sorry if I'm not myself, like I'm going through it. And he invited me to like church that night. And he was super, super intentional with continuing to invite me and continuing to ask me. And then eventually I got to a point where I actually wanted it for myself. I got to UMass, met this guy, Danny, who was a missionary at the school. He was kind of like a mentor for me. We started a Bible study with the lacrosse team, or some of the guys there. And then it was that sophomore to junior year where I found Jesus, and I went from, even on social media, posting like a lot of worldly stuff to just fully dropping it all for faith. And it's been such a blessing. But yeah, God put Gavin and Danny in my life for sure to bring me into the faith, and super thankful.
That's amazing. I feel like nowadays when I'm on Instagram, I can't get off. Like, I will go on my feed and the first thing I'll see is, you have 20 seconds for
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Always.
So funny, bro.
I think that's hype though. Like, I
It
feel
is.
like so many other people can relate to that. Like, especially knowing now your faith journey, people probably see it and like, oh my gosh, that's the Drip King and he's talking about faith, and it's
Right,
20 seconds
right.
to just pray, and you impact so many people.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
so many people are impacted by that prayer or like that clip alone.
Right. Yeah, it's all God. And like the 20 seconds thing, like I was like, it's kind of cringy, but it captures people in. If you can get hundreds of thousands of people to stop for a second to spend
And
time
just
with
listen.
God, it's so worth it. And I think God was intentional where like when I blew up on social media, it wasn't for the faith. So I gained so many fans of people that also weren't in the faith. And I think when they saw someone like me that they looked up to in a worldly way turning to that, after kind of getting all the worldly things I could have wanted and it wasn't enough, I think it helped bring that many more people to it through that. So
Right.
it's all God, yeah.
So you had said that your identity was in lacrosse.
Yes.
And then you said you kind of went as far as you can go with that, and you just felt like burnt out after that. Do you think, because I've heard a lot of stories like that where someone's identity is in, most often I hear basketball, mostly from preachers, is
Oh,
or it's
interesting.
like, oh yeah, I was in basketball and then I tore this or whatever,
Right.
and now I'm in the ministry. But do you think that we go through spots like burnout, or that thing that we ground our identity in that's not God, that it's taken away from us in one way or another so that we can, seek Him? Because like I'm in video,
Yeah.
and it's tough sometimes to not put all my eggs in that basket, so to
Right.
speak. Do you think?
Well, I think when your identity becomes it's such an idol over God. And for me, it was completely like it was like Caleb Hammett is a lacrosse player and he's as good as his stats are. And I had my sophomore season where it was like I broke almost every record at UMass. And I remember like the feeling of like thinking people would look at me different and I would feel like my identity would be in that, but it was just such an emptiness. And for some people it's injuries. God will like directly take you out of it. But for me, it was like he allowed me to get everything that I had dreamed of and realize that I was
feel
just as empty.
It was empty.
Right.
And realize that you needed something there
Right.
that was way beyond lacrosse.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that the Lord does that. Usually there's stories like that it's just one moment the Lord just pulls. Like I think I saw an interview with Forrest Frank a while back that he said something where he was far from the faith and producing like secular music and stuff, and it just took him going out on like a random Tuesday or something. He just went out, felt empty, like what you were saying, and he just ended up in a worship night at like 2 a.m. and ended up there and gave his life to Christ again because he was in a Christian household. And that's so beautiful, like the transition. I personally grew up in a household where my family was Catholic, like you were saying, or
Yes.
you remember-
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
and
Catholic.
then my family transitioned over to Christianity once I was like 13, and just like the idea of being reborn is so interesting.
Yeah.
I think, and I one thing I had to mention really quick. I love the fact that you are like a social media expert. The way that you like construct videos to grab people's attention is nuts. I swear, I think I saw a video the other day that was like bricks falling.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, you know, like where it's the guy or like they drop the ice or
Right,
something,
right.
and then you're like, "Do you have 20 minutes?"
Right.
I love that. I'm like. That's like a perfect advertising tactic, or not advertising, like a marketing tactic. It's so good.
It does get you watching because
Oh,
you're wanting that
100%.
satisfaction. And then it's like, do you have 20 seconds for God? It's
Right.
like, yes. Yes, I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I do love hearing about how you essentially made the decision to make your faith your own.
Yes.
Away from what you were technically raised in. What was the major turning point where, because you've told me before, you've kind of always believed in God and stuff.
Yeah.
But what was the big turning point where you were kind of, okay, God really is real and he does love me and he has a purpose for me beyond just being a really good lacrosse player?
Right. I think when you're at like rock bottom, which I was, I just had a lot of faith that like when I was praying it was being heard. And I think it was that year, the amount of answered prayers I had in my life, and just from going from being like so empty and depressed to following Jesus and his teachings and seeing, you know, it's almost like something that you can't even like explain, but it was like the peace and fulfillment in my heart and just so many answered prayers, and just how my life unfolded over that next year and a half was something that I could have never done on my own. And I just knew his hand was on my life. And I really do think the whole time I had to go a big roundabout way because of my flesh to get there. But it was like the whole time he knew that I would end up using what he gave me for his glory. But yeah, it was that year, I think, just I had a little bit of lukewarmness that year going back to school. And I remember it was like that like January, it was like the last time I like got drunk, fell into like lust with some girl. I remember I was so deeply convicted more than I had ever been in my life. And it was the type of conviction I had. I knew it wasn't just me. It was that relationship I had with Jesus. I could feel him pulling me out of all of that. And like that was my breaking point where I was like, I'm not being lukewarm anymore. And it was the second I like fully gave my life to him. I could hear him so clearly. His direction was just so strong in my life, and even how it's brought me to liberty. It's like literally nothing that I would have ever planned in a million years, even a year ago. I guess just how intentionally I saw him work in my life and how his plans were so different than mine, but so much better.
Yeah, it's really funny. I posted a video last night on my Instagram story talking about the Lord's timing and his plans and all that, and that's something that I'm really dealing with is redirection and, you know, things not working out and expecting other things, something that happens. So, I mean, that is just, no. Oh, crap.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Dang.
Well,
But
producer Charles gave us a note.
yeah, Sir Charles gave us a no. Thank you for that editor's note. But it's
But I feel like you also touched down in Lynchburg, and then you met Todd Hughes.
Yeah, he's the man.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out
We had
Todd
him-
Hughes.
Yeah, we had him on an episode.
Shout
Was it
out.
15?
yeah, something like that. We love Todd.
5 episodes ago.
We love him.
He's
But
such a good dude.
one thing I wanted to ask you too is as a guy with you had a lot of popularity at UMass. You are a popular guy, and at UMass being part of the lacrosse team and stuff, you obviously had a lot of temptations from the world during that time. What are some things that you really struggled with as a guy, and especially after becoming a Christ follower, that you really had to work on? The Lord was showing you, hey, this area of your life is really bad. You need to cut this out. Or because you mentioned lust, struggling with lust. What are some other things that you really struggled with that you could share that would help other people?
I think like drinking, partying, and lust is like one of the biggest thing for a lot of people. For me, that wasn't the hardest because like those are things that I just never felt fulfilled doing. But for me, it was like with the notoriety and the social media, materialism, pride, those are all really, really big things. And I remember even when I first was posting about my faith, like I'd have such a hard time doing it for God's glory and seeing like faith videos go viral and thinking it was of my own doing or thinking anything like that. And I guess my biggest downfall too was I used to post about my faith, and I would post it with like girls that were, the videos were not honoring God whatsoever. And I think it was the part of me where I was like, off camera, I'm not doing anything bad with them. Like, it's just business. But the Lord convicted me so much that it's like, you either have to be all in with me or let go of all those things. So I think it's that idea of like pleasing the world and trying to keep the fame that I had built. And then it was funny because when I decided to fully go with the faith, I like kind of accepted I was going to like fall off because I thought that's what people only cared about. And then the Lord blessed me with a bigger audience of Christians. And once again, it was like his plan was so much greater than mine. But I guess just the worldly pleasures or desire of posting worldly things to be famous, that was like a hard one for like 6 months when I first really got into it. So
Yeah, I know. When you're given a platform, and you see it with so many leaders and people in general, when they get a platform, it can be easy to get prideful and fall and forget where you came from and where your purpose was. And obviously you had some of those pitfalls, but you learned from those pitfalls, and the Lord clearly had a plan despite your mess ups and the things that you thought you were doing correctly, which in fact you weren't. He was showing you, and even through that, he was working through you, your own failings and stuff like that. How hard was it for you to transition from creating content that was more worldly to Christian content? Because I know, for a long time you posted content that was, using, certain women for thumbnails and stuff that, and kind of those Riz type of, those types of videos.
Riz King mentioned?
Riz King, Riz King. Because I remember literally seeing your videos and thinking, what is this guy? Who is this guy? What is he doing?
He's going to be on your podcast.
I didn't know years later, a couple years later, but it was so interesting seeing those. And then obviously your content has completely shifted.
absolutely.
How hard was that transition? Besides, some of the stuff I know you mentioned a little bit about conviction and all that, but how hard was that transition to even do something like that in that case?
I think it was hard because it took such a long period of time for me to actually let it go.
Yeah.
And I remember the time for me it like finally clicked was, I think it was August of 2023. I remember I was convicted of not doing it. I wasn't filming with any of these girls. And then I remember it was like, I had like the situationship with a girl over the summer off social media that like failed, and I was like not in the greatest mind space, and the content wasn't doing great. So I decided to go back and film with one of the girls that I had been filming with in my past. Filmed with her, and then like 3 days later I came home and spoke at a church for like my friend that invited me to. I remember like after speaking I was just sitting there and praying, and I remember the Lord just like calling me like, you need to let everything go and like give everything to me. And at that point I was like, I literally was like, if I fall off and I don't do social media anymore and that's what the result of this is, I'm okay with it. It was just like, there was no fulfillment even in like gaining popularity for something I didn't want to be. And like I said, like that day after that, it was pretty easy because I just wanted to give my life to Christ, and I saw how much, like, even just that burden it had on my heart of like having that double personality on social media of like the worldliness and the godliness, like it would weigh on my heart and like my relationship with Jesus, because I always knew, like, even when you're like praying to him and you know you're just deliberately turning away from him for something like that, like it was really hurting my relationship with him. And once I did let that go for the final time, it was like I was able to see my own relationship with Jesus get so much better, and that was so much greater than any of the fame that I had. And then it was like he provided so much more that next year in almost every aspect on social media, which like it's all to his glory. But when he was calling me out of it, I don't think he was calling me away from social media, but to use it for him. So really cool how he works. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
you're like
Man.
made whole through him and like the whole process of it all. I love that.
Yeah, that is honestly, it's really funny. I struggle to trust God in certain areas of my life. I've always trusted him with my career and stuff like that, but there are certain areas of my life I've just always struggled to trust in him with. So how do you learn to just give certain things to God and let go? And because I like to, and literally speaking from experience, I like to sometimes to know as much information as I can about certain things. I like to know things ahead of time. I almost wish I could see the future in some ways, but that's not how God's kingdom works. You have to, I've said this several times, but I feel like, especially this year, and I feel like this is the way the Lord works, he gives you a white piece of paper that represents a map, and you have to kind of walk that piece of paper, or that map, and as you're walking, it slowly gets more filled out. It's not just a full map. It's you play a video game where the map will just fill out as you walk around. That's kind of how I see life, and this year especially.
Right.
So how do you learn to just give the Lord certain things that you say, okay, I wish I could control this more, but I can't? How do you just learn to let go of those things and give them to the Lord?
Because I'm like a very logical thinker and I like to plan out everything. But if I look back on my past, anytime I've tried to take everything into my own hands, I've seen how it's never ended up well for me.
Wow.
And anytime I've fully given things to the Lord, I've seen him be so faithful. So obviously through my own testimony and seeing that, it helps. But it's also just like, that's what faith is. It's trusting in him. And for me, if I'm going to claim to be a Christian, I'm going to open up my Bible and pray every day. It's like I'm committing to having faith in him. And I can think about so many times in my life where I thought the situation I was in was just permanent and so bad. And I got through every single one of them, thankfully, from God. So I don't know. I just have that peace. And for me, it's like anytime I find myself stressing or having anxiety about me trying to do things on my own, me losing faith, there's a direct correlation to me not praying a lot and opening my Bible a lot. So for me, it's like staying close to God and in his word. I don't know, pretty laid back guy. And because I feel like he's fully in control. So yeah.
Could you give us an example of a time when you didn't leave it in the Lord's hands and you just tried to go it alone?
Yeah. I'd say even social media, when I was first doing it, I was business-wise just trying to make every move the right way, and I ended up in a position where I portrayed myself as someone I wasn't, and I couldn't stand like what I got famous for, I guess. And then it was like the second I let go of everything and I accepted, like, oh, I'm going to fall off, the Lord fully took me and brought me to a new like height that I was actually proud of and fulfilled of. And I mean, there's so many different times in my life, even just the day-to-day, like letting my flesh and my own desires make my decisions. It's just like burying my own pit. Done it many times in my life. And anytime I've stuck to God's word and his instruction, there's never been a time where I was like, why did I do that? I didn't want to end up in this position. Because every time it's like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? So I've just seen it, so many times, macro and micro in my life, just it be proven. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a lot like Caleb. I like to kind of, have my hands all over everything. This is, really evidence when I do video stuff, but also I kind of dabble with social media a little bit, mostly YouTube, more so than TikTok and Instagram, like you new kids. And it's hard for me to kind of, it's hard for me to put something out there and not worry about, oh, is this gonna trend? You know, am I covering the right topic? Will enough people see this?
Right.
So it's inspiring to kind of see you be like, yeah, no, you know, I'm just gonna leave it in the Lord's hands. I'm not gonna
Right.
worry about what everybody else is thinking right now.
Right. And I'm not going to, like, when I have that mindset, I'm like, all right, God's going to bless me financially and he's going to make my videos go viral and he's going to be so faithful. Like, I've seen it so many times in the opposite way, but that's also how he redirects me. And I think for me, like, I'm very fluid on where my life will go. If it's not social media, I'm okay with it. If it's working a 9 to 5 that I don't want to do, but I feel like God's calling me there, I'll do it. If it's ministry, I'll do it. I think like when it becomes an idol is when like your plan A is your only option. I think nowadays everyone, like all the red pill is like, there's no plan B, there's no plan B, but it's like you make yourself your own God when you say, I'm not willing to do anything but what I've decided to do for myself.
Right.
And for me, it's like, I have to row the boat, I have to do work. God's not going to just magically have everything fall into place in my life. It's like social media, I spend hours and hours and hours every day doing it because I love it. But I'm fully okay with if it doesn't work out or if he's calling me somewhere else, I'll just pivot. And I think for me, it used to be the fear of there like is no plan B. Like it's social media or nothing. And when it becomes that big of an idol, for me, I'd be stressing out like crazy when videos weren't doing well. So I guess, yeah, just submitting to whatever he wants from me and understanding that I don't know what he wants from me at all times. So
It's being open to the possibility that this might not be the ultimate.
I think it's the piece that if there is something else, it's better than what you even have planned.
Yeah, because
At
he
least
always
that's-
has something better planned.
Right.
Right. Because his will prevails.
Absolutely, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is so difficult sometimes for me to, you know, trust in that. And I've had so many conversations with these guys about that. It's just so difficult because I see,
So many.
because I feel like I should do this and do that. Why isn't this working? Why is this not working? Because I put in this effort here. And sometimes it's hard for me to believe that the Lord is working behind the scenes, even when I can't see it, because I'm just so, and I've said this before too, I walk so much by sight and not by faith because, you know, I work full time in video production. I have to see. That's literally my career. My eyes are literally should be insured for millions of dollars because I gotta see. So I work in an industry where we walk by sight, not by faith. But at the same time, my relationship with the Lord, I'm supposed to walk by faith, not by sight.
Right.
And that can be very difficult for me at times as as someone who is very much growing in the Lord and trying to draw closer to him. Is there a routine that you hold close that you do to help you discern the Lord's will for your life and also just connect with him every single day?
Yeah, for me, like my non-negotiable is every single morning when I get up. Sometimes I still go on my phone first, but just like sit up on my desk, read through at least a chapter of whatever I'm reading through, and just like slow down, read my Devo and pray. Even if it's 20 minutes, it sets the tone for the day. But like I was telling even Thomas earlier, any times in my life where I feel like I'm really stressing or I'm really anxious or I'm worrying about my plans, I can literally look and be like, oh, I haven't been reading my Bible like I should. I haven't been praying like I should. So it's kind of become like my lifeline where like I want to give him my first fruits when I get up. And then I feel like when I do my videos or I go to the gym or I have conversations throughout the day, I have such a clearer mind and just like it sets the tone for my day and it blesses everything else I do after that so much more. And then I try to pray throughout my day.
Yeah.
Not the best with it always, but even like if at least once a day for like 10 minutes to really sit in prayer and not just like the surface level, like, thank you, I'm so thankful for today, but like really what's on my heart, what's on my mind.
Just a
Where should I
conversation
be more
with him.
intentional?
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeking, actually spending time with him and like not letting social media and these other things be an idol, because I used to say God was first in my life, but I would make sure my videos were done. I would make sure my lift at the gym was done. I'd make sure everything work related was done. And then at the end of the day, I'd spend
You
time
give him
with
the
him.
leftovers
And I
at
was
the
like,
end
wait,
of the day.
yeah, you're not first. You're
Whatever time is
fourth or
left.
fifth. And then once he's truly first, at least for me, it's like I have so much peace in my life, wherever that is. And I don't know. Reading through Ecclesiastes is my favorite book in the Bible.
Ooh, amen.
And I'm
Yeah.
so aware of how temporary this life is. And I'm
Wow.
so aware of all these things I'm doing now will be so soon forgotten when my time comes. And it's like, I don't know, they say like you can have the worst life ever on earth and it'd be like the equivalent of like one bad night in heaven, which I don't think
There
you can't
won't
have
be
a bad
bad
nights in
nights in
heaven.
heaven.
But it's
Yeah.
like
But
the idea,
metaphor.
yeah, the idea of like we stress so much about this life, but it's so short. Like there isn't
Yeah.
even time to stress. And of course I have to check myself, but
Yeah.
yeah.
At the end of the day, people aren't going to remember you for your follower count. They're going to remember you for when you helped them out that one time, or when you just prayed for them, or when you
Right.
stayed up late with them when they were crying. You know,
Right.
at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what people remember you for. Not
Right.
that video that went viral, but that moment that you took that time to be with them and
Right.
help them.
Not how
out.
drippy you were.
They'll forget soon, unless they or haven't forgotten already.
Man,
The impact you make on family members and friends, man.
That's all that
Yes.
They'll
matters.
never forget.
that is
so good.
that is so important. Could you see yourself going full time into ministry one day? Because you already have a platform in which you do ministry to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself going into full time pastoral ministry, or what is that? What do you think?
I haven't felt called to it specifically to that yet. My kind of thing where I guess my plan for the next few years, what I would do is like social media, I love doing. I love that to be my full-time financial income, something I'm very passionate about and love, doing my clothing line. And then like I will go speak at churches, but the thing for me is like I don't ever want to get paid for anything like that. Like if I can go to churches and speak and they ask me to and I can reach people and serve God in that way, I will. But for me, it's like I just know how I am. And if it's like my job is ministry, but that's also where all of my finances are coming from. I know my heart's not at a place that I could be in the right mindset doing that. But I guess I feel where God uses me now is like on the side of my work, just for my own faith, like going to churches and speaking to a few thousand people, not for work, but genuinely because I want to serve God and reach people. And like in the fall, I went home flew back for a weekend and I spoke at like 3 different services at this church at home, and it's over like 1,500 people. And that was like one of the most like fulfilling things I've done over the past year. And I didn't get paid a penny to do it. It's just like,
You
that's
just did
what's
it,
so
yeah.
fulfilling.
You just served.
Right. And
Yeah.
I always want to do something in that facet, serve, but I don't know about being like a pastor or
Yeah.
anything like that. And I certainly haven't been called to do it yet. So,
Right.
I mean, you already have an online ministry where you're kind of preaching the gospel through there,
right.
Yeah.
which is already such like you're getting like what 100K plus on a reel. That's like 100K people showing up to like a service. Like
That'd be
it's
crazy. That's insane to think about.
It's so
It
crazy.
really is. And that's like that's the ministry I feel called to do, online
Amazing.
ministry. Because I know even before the faith, I was always very skilled with marketing and leveraging social media. And the
Yes.
fact that I'm able to do that to reach as many people as I can with the faith, it's like super fulfilling and using the gifts God gave me.
Right.
And that's something I felt very strongly called to do. So
You have
Love
a
that.
talent for it, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Oh
Thank
yeah.
you.
Like it captivates me personally whenever I see it on my feed.
Yeah.
It's always so good.
And
means a
even
lot.
as just a friend, when I see your videos, I'm just, I'm proud that you're doing that. I'm
it
proud
means a
that
lot.
with someone with 1.7 million followers, which is just insane to think
That's a
about.
crazy amount.
That is a crazy amount of people
Yeah.
to
Bro
follow.
has more followers than people who live in Lynchburg.
Yeah, I know. What? Some countries I don't even think have 1 point. I think some smaller countries have one.
Canada definitely doesn't have 1.7 million people.
No, Canada has what? What?
That's like
I think like
500K.
No.
No, it's smaller than the United
No, it's
States.
got like 5. It's got like 5 people, I think.
Yeah,
At least.
Yeah, I think
it's got at least 5 people.
at least
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Enough to fill up a
Justin
hockey
Trudeau, Justin Bieber, Drake,
Pierce Lyons.
Piers Lyons, and
This is Canadian. Sydney?
Ryan Reynolds
Ryan Reynolds.
and Sidney Brinsky.
Seven.
Yeah, 7 people.
That's
Yeah.
6.
That's 6.
No, there's another one.
Guys, I
Okay.
was homeschooled. Math's not my strong suit.
Oh
No,
my
we're video
gosh,
people.
bro.
Math
Yeah.
is definitely not our strong suit.
Yeah.
That's like they give you options when you're taking math. It's just like, bro, you're not really good at this. Pick a career that
Right.
doesn't involve math. Then videos on there, and it's like video.
Yeah.
And then I realized that lenses have numbers.
And it's like,
Yeah, so,
Oh! no! But thankfully I put enough brain power to figure those out.
We got it. I think 4.5.
Yeah,
I think it's 4.5.
I did want to tell you kind of a little back to the Bible reading in the morning. Last week, I will admit this, I was not the best at reading my Bible. There were a couple days where I just straight up did not read my Bible because I was too busy doing video stuff. I was grinding the whole day, doing stuff. And I'd say, okay, God, I'm going to read my Bible at the end of the day. And I didn't. I ended up not doing it. Or I'd start reading it and I'd put it down. And it was probably 4 or 5 days I did that. And I have a Bible reading plan, and it was just, you missed this day. And I was just, dang it, I'll get to it tomorrow. And I never did.
Do you have an app for that?
The Bible app.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I am doing a 365 Bible reading plan, 365 day. But I literally remember last week, I just felt so off when I wasn't doing that stuff in the morning. Because I've since giving my life, or since essentially the past year of my having a relationship with Christ, not just a religion, I really tried to focus on reading my Bible. And I remember just waking up and reading my Bible, and I felt good about the day. I said, okay, I'm just going to go try to take on this day. And I just remember just feeling kind of just off last week. Just those couple days, I feel so weird. And it was just because I didn't read my Bible, because I didn't dive into the Word. And even if I'm reading in Numbers right now, which is just a bunch of, this is
Numbers.
This is Aaron's sons did this and all that. And but I literally remember just thinking, I feel so off. And I literally had to make up for 5 days of Bible reading. I remember I was sitting in my office and I said, okay, I'm going to catch up on this. And I probably read for 40 minutes in my Bible, just sitting in my office during my lunch break. But I caught up on it and I felt better, and been better this week about it, just reading consistently and all that.
That's awesome.
But I definitely do feel that the Bible is so important. I mean, it's a message to you every single day when you wake up. And I'm similar to you. I try not to check Instagram or anything really until I read the Bible in the morning. I get up early to ensure that I can do that.
Right.
Gonna have to get up really early tomorrow because I'm getting my hair cut at 6:30.
How do you do that? Why would you do that? Was that the only time they could fit you in?
Yeah, because we're supposed to get snow. So I had to move my
Is it
appointment.
snow tomorrow or Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yeah, it's supposed to get some snow. So I had
How
to.
much?
That's probably like
8
9.
inches.
Oh, I heard it's 9.
Yeah.
I'm so confused on how much snow we're supposed to
I heard
get.
3 to 5. I have no idea.
Oh, so like 3 to 5 to 8 to 9.
3 to 9.
The snow's
3 to
working.
9.
The snow's working jobs.
The snow's
3 to
snow.
5 and 8 to 9.
0 to 13. sounds
0 to
like
13.
Overtime, bro.
Dude, it's working hard, bro. Give it a break.
Bro, the snow is putting in overtime for us, bro.
Here in Lynchburg, the snow is crazy. You cannot drive on the street if it's
No, you can't, and
it's bizarre.
They don't. Okay, so they will salt and brine the main road.
brine.
Yeah, because that's the other stuff they put down.
Like
Brine?
Did you not know that? It's that
Brine?
brown stuff you'll notice in like the slush. That's
that's
called
what it
brine.
is. Oh.
Because salt won't get rid of some aspect of the ice, but brine will just totally dissolve all of it.
Why don't we
don't-
just brine stuff?
bro? I don't know.
They can't afford it. Brine budget gone. We spent it on fixing that stupid stop sign on Main Street.
Yeah, great.
But they don't brine our road. I almost slid off the road like a couple days ago because there's just a massive sheet of ice that I guess nobody saw.
Bro, Ward's Road in the middle of the night is like a
diabolical
disaster zone.
Treacherous.
What?
Ice.
I stepped out on my
Ice.
ice.
You ice stepped out.
No, so I was getting out of my car for work last week when it snowed, and I literally opened the door of my car and I comically went woo and flew backwards, and I caught myself on my door, but I almost split my pants.
That would have been so funny. Was I there or was this?
No, this is probably 7:45.
Oh man, that would have been really funny if I was just down there and I just walked down and you come in, you're like, "Hey Ryan, I just split my pants." See,
That kind of sounded like it too.
that's exactly what he says to me every single morning. It's just like,
Did I split my pants?
Hey,
I
Ryan.
don't think.
no, not that, not that very specific
Bro has
phrase.
a habit of splitting pants.
Bro, just that's kind of his
Bro's
thing
pants
on
budget
the
is
sitcom.
astronomical.
Yeah, it's
What if
it's
this
the
was
thing on the
airing
sitcom.
like on the Truman Show, but the Caleb Show, and everybody saw that, bro?
And if I
The
don't
whole
see
audience is laughing, bro.
if I don't see you later, I split my pants. I split my pants. I split my pants.
That's kind of hype.
Have you ever seen the Truman Show movie?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's so fun.
We're doing a movie night.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right,
have
you're
to.
gonna come watch the Truman Show.
I'm down.
with
The
us.
Truman Show is crazy. It's literally like how they were able to encapsulate a Twitch live stream that's like 24/7. So it's basically that.
But the movie came out in 1998.
No,
it's
It's Jim
Twitch.
Carrey. It's Jim Carrey movie.
yeah.
And then
But
after
they call it the Truman Show.
Yeah.
And then after Caleb watches it, he's just gonna say, "Do you have 20 seconds for Truman?"
That'd be funny.
Oh my god. We'll put
Yeah.
you on. We'll put you on that. So
I'm excited.
circling back here. So love hearing about everything that you're doing with that. But one big thing that your content revolved around a lot was godly relationships with women and all that. And you were single for a long time. How
Yes.
long were you single for?
It was since I found Jesus almost 3 years ago. So
Right.
it was like sophomore year of college. Now I'm almost done with my 5th year of college. So
Yeah, so you were single for a while.
Yes.
So what does it mean to wait on God in singleness?
Yeah, so like I told you earlier, I was the type of person that always needed a girlfriend before my faith. Like that's where my happiness came from. I just like had such a big void in my heart, and I tried filling it with a girl. And back then, the only thing I cared about is if they were attractive, and I was like, everything else, like it'll work out. And I saw lust just destroy every single relationship that I was in, and I saw it destroy like me too. And I remember I was always like the red pill mindset, like all girls are the same, all girls are the same. And then one day I was like, wait, I'm literally attracting what I am, and I was no different than the girls I was attracting. And for me, like when I got out of that last relationship, I was like, I can't even have a girlfriend because I am so far from like being a man right now that if there was a good girl in my life, I would completely destroy her. And I used to like, I was telling my girlfriend this too. I used to like pray all the time, like, Lord, do not put my future wife in my life right now because I'm not ready. And I knew I wasn't. And my sister Abby gave me this like 90-day devotional, like praying for your future wife. This is when I was getting into my faith at UMass. And at this point in my life, like love and lust, it was all kind of intertwined to one thing for me. I didn't really know the difference. And this is right after the breakup. I remember reading through it, and every day I was like, oh my, like this is crazy, like what an actual relationship is, what love looks like. And I wanted that so much for myself, but I knew my heart was so far from that. And God's so intentional. It was like the years it took me of singleness, and times there were, of course, like the last year and a half or so, I felt like I was ready, but God clearly was like, no, you have more work to do. And for me, it was like, I did not want to find a girlfriend at Liberty. Like Todd will actually be the first one to tell you that, because he would go tell like certain girls like, Caleb's not interested, he's not looking for a girl here, he doesn't want a girl here, because I was like, I just want to focus on lacrosse, I'm never going to stay in Virginia. But like that's kind of how God works. It's like he'll put the biggest blessings in your life when you least expect it. And for me it was like 3 months ago I met my girlfriend Maggie, and
Shout out Maggie.
yeah, she's like the godliest woman I've like ever met. And it's just so funny because it's all the years that God needed to prepare me for someone like her. It's so worth it now, because going from the relationships I was in my whole life to being in a relationship that is two people that seriously want to see each other in heaven and no lust and just honoring God in every way, it's like the most intimate experience you can ever have. And for me, it was like those years of singleness, those years of desexualizing my mind, those years of quitting, like watching porn and giving into my flesh and all those things, like it was God's, that waiting season was like him protecting me and giving me now such a great blessing. And I think such an idol for a lot of people, because like, yeah, I think almost every man wants to have a godly marriage and a godly relationship. But I think the most important thing is just realizing that like God will have you cross paths with your people when the time is right in your life, but you might not understand why you're waiting so long. But when you do find your person, it'll make sense. Because like the last year and a half when I thought I was ready, I grew probably more in the last year and a half of my faith than I did the year and a half prior to that. So I think just like that, submitting to God's plan, trusting in his timing, knowing that he's faithful. And for me, it was like, I didn't make it an expectation that I needed a girl, I guess. So it didn't become an idol for me. And then now, like, I was able to discern so well when he did put someone in my life. So, yeah.
Because you have to be the man of the household. You kind of, or ultimately you will, right? And
Right.
then you kind of detach from the expectation of it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was, this is like not much to do with the Bible, but it's more so like something that I've been researching into lately, like the law of detachment. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes. Yeah.
That it's like usually when you chase after something, it kind of like veers away. It's like
Yes.
goes far away. But if, it seems like you were so self-aware about your situation and making sure that your relationship was right with God that you made that the priority. And so Maggie came along
Right.
at like the perfect timing.
Right. And it was funny because it was like there were seasons of my singleness where I avidly wanted a girlfriend. And I'd go on dates, I'd meet these girls, and I'd wonder, why isn't it working out? Why isn't it working out? And I remember it just hit me. I was like, I'm trying to make this happen, but I'm not trusting in God's timing. And I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. It was like when God put Maggie in my life, it was the least I was ever looking for. It was to the point where I was almost trying to stay away from it and avoid it. But I think that's how intentional God is. It's like, I didn't go out of my way to pursue her. I wasn't looking for girls. It literally fell into my lap. And it's like, I think that's how God works. When he really has something for you, it's not going to go past you. And I don't know, even at Liberty, I feel like I see it here especially. It's like dating such an idol. And like, it's such a big thing here. Like, you have to find your husband. You have to find your wife. But it's like, that's not biblical. Just searching and searching and searching. It's like, seek the kingdom first and everything else will be given to you. And for me, it was once I was actually okay with an extended period of time of seeking the kingdom, God blessed me with a bunch of things, including an extremely godly woman, which so worth the wait. So worth the wait. Yeah.
It's so tough hearing all the time the ring by spring. Have you heard that on campus?
Yeah, it's
nuts.
very cringy for sure.
It's
So different from where I'm from. I'm from like Massachusetts, a very atheistic state, and like
Really? Massachusetts?
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That is
it's
very
probably one of the
liberal
least
atheistic.
churched states.
That's so
Probably-
weird
no, I think it is the
considering
least.
Massachusetts is like,
It's up there with Vermont and being one of the
that's
least.
so
Yeah.
sad.
It
Knowing
is.
the history of Massachusetts.
Northern states are typically
Very
the
much so.
farther you get up, the probably the less church they are.
Where does sorry, it's totally off topic again, but where's Plymouth at?
it's like 10 minutes from me. It's
so
down-
it is in Massachusetts.
Down in Massachusetts, yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. But no. It's really reassuring to hear you say that because even beyond dating, but
Right.
just in all things, I often worry, like, am I pushing hard enough here or here or here? Maybe there's something God has for me here. I'm just not pushing hard enough for
Right.
it. But hearing you say, if God really means something for you, it'll come.
Right.
You don't have to, just go to the ends of the earth to get it. If it's
Right.
meant for you, it'll get there.
Right.
So that's really reassuring to hear.
There's like the scale with anything in faith. It's like, I think there's that middle that is what we're trying to strive. And then there's the far side where it's like, if you sit in your house the rest of your life, maybe I'm wrong in a few cases, but God's not going to have some girl knocking on your door and be like, hey, is Caleb in there? I'm in love with him and I want to marry him. It's not how life works. Like,
That's not how it works.
but then the other side of the spectrum is like, all you're doing is searching and searching and looking and looking and looking. That's also extremely unhealthy. But I think it's like, you put yourself in situations in your life, whether it's at church or in good environments where you can meet people, and through your discernment and not like idolizing it, you can discern well and meet people. And just like anything else in life, it's like, if you never pick up your camera and you're not diligent about your work, God's not going to
You're never
flourish
making
a
anything.
career for you with that.
Exactly.
But if it's the biggest idol where you are just stressing and panicking and trying to map everything out, then it's an idol. It's like that middle ground where it's like, I'm trusting you, Lord, but I'm also taking the steps that I think you want me to take to achieve whatever this is. And
Yeah,
I
not
think,
stressing so much about it.
yeah.
Dang.
God's timing is so perfect because probably in Maggie's walk it was probably similar where she was not looking for you.
Absolutely. I told her, I was like, if you met me a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would have completely destroyed you. And it was the same thing where it was like, she's like, if we met 2 years ago, we would have destroyed each other. And it was like, there were so many intentional ways that God weeded out so many things, even over the last 12 months in my life, especially to prepare me to lead. Because I think people think it's like the final chapter is getting your girlfriend and then you're all set and your life's all sunshine and rainbows. But it's like, that's the first chapter.
Yeah, that's just the start.
Like, it's easy to fall into lust and it's easy to love someone in a worldly sense, but to be so intentional about keeping God at the center with someone you're very attracted to, it's not an easy thing. And that's just like, I'm so thankful God got me to where I was now so that I'm able to do it. And in the same way with her, it was like, even the last 6 months of her life, there were a lot of things that had to be weeded out for her to be ready to be led by me and submit and truly like honor God through our relationship. And it's like, when I see how intentional it was, it's like, I'm in awe of like how crazy his timing is.
Yeah.
Man.
And in a relationship, do you guys do anything like together in terms of like combining your walks?
So yes and no. I wanted to tie back what you were saying about your scripture last week with the snow days. The roads were super bad. I stayed in her guest room. I remember it was like 2 days I was kind of at her house and we did our morning like quiet time together. And I always say to her, and she agrees, like, we need to have our own quiet time outside of each other. And it's great to do stuff with each other too, but like, we need our own relationships with God. And even that last week, I was feeling like higher stress, higher anxiety. And I told her, I was like, I think it's because like, I haven't had as much alone time with God. And she like really encouraged me to do that before I even see her. And then it was like immediately the second I spent time with God alone, the anxiety, the stress, the spiritual warfare I was dealing with went right away. And I think in a relationship, especially as a man, you need to feed your relationship with God first. Because if you don't do that, and your relationship with God is dependent on you and the girl doing it together, you're not going to be able to lead her properly. You're not going to be able to hear the things from God that he needs you to hear. And I think just like that alone time with God is so important. And like, if I don't spend it with him, then I'm hurting my relationship with Maggie. I'm hurting my relationship with my friends, with my family. And like that alone time with God is what fuels every single relationship in my life. But we do devotionals together, and it's also very important to spend intentional time with that. But I think it's more important to have your own relationship with God.
Man,
Yeah.
that's so good.
Man. Yeah. How do you prepare to be a man of God who can lead a woman?
So, like, it's funny. I was very nervous because this is the first time in my life like, when I say I went from the most worldly relationships ever years ago, like, as worldly as they get, then to my first relationship being a godly relationship, and there's always a first time for everything. And for me, it was super intimidating. I was like, this seems really hard. But what you kind of come to realize is, like, loving someone, I think, biblically, is wanting to see them in heaven, wanting to make them look more like Jesus. And it's not a feeling. If I woke up every single day and I was like, oh, I'm going to feel like loving her today, I'd fail. I'd fail in being intentional. I'd fail in leading her. But for me, it like is a very calming thing that I'm in full control of loving her because it's a choice I have to make every single day. It's the same way I choose when I'm with you guys to try to respect you guys and try to love you guys and have conversations that honor God. It's just, you make the choice every day with that person. And it's like, God, it strengthens you so much through that and gives you so much peace through that. But it's just that idea of like, it's not going to just happen. Like, as men, we're called to lead and we're called to make that decision every day of like, if I love her, I'm going to pull her closer to God in every way that I can. And when you have a strong relationship with God before the girl, your life doesn't change that much. You're just taking her along with you. I think it's when people don't have that strong foundation with God, they find a girl and then they try to like lead, but it's a drastic change from their life before. They didn't have their own relationship. That's when it's really hard.
Yeah.
But I think that's why you get your relationship firm with God first. And it's like you almost bring someone along for the ride. And it's not that, it's not as intimidating as I thought it was going to be, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel as though in relationships with girls, it's very, I guess, speaking personally, like sometimes it's a little tough not to end up like idolizing the woman in some sort of way, which is so hard to like. It's an active pursuit, like you're saying, to choose to follow the Lord every single day and to read the Bible and to be in devotional and be in prayer.
Right.
And then maybe that one person comes into your life and you're like, dang, like maybe this is from the Lord. And out of nowhere, this balance shift happens.
Right.
Where it's a little bit tough. And out of nowhere, you're thinking, oh my gosh, my relationship with the Lord is dwindling. And now this girl is going away because I've given her like that thing where it's like you're chasing after something that's like, it goes vamoose. And then what happened in your relationship with God?
Right. I would say that's something I even used to struggle with a lot. Like, I would get very, very, very infatuated with girls. And I think there's there's a balance. I think you should love hard. I think if there's a girl in your life that you see good characteristics in, you shouldn't go cold hard and be like, I'm going to play the game of pretending I don't like her and guarding my heart and all this, because you're probably going to lose your future wife if you treat her like that. And for me, I can tell you from experience, I had like 3 or 4 of those like situationships over the past 2 years, year and a half, where like really thought I might date this girl, really get emotionally involved, and then it feels like just as bad as a breakup.
Yeah.
I think it's okay, like loving hard and then feeling that pain's okay, but it's like, what do you do in that time? Do you lean on God or do you give into vices? And for me, I did lean on God, and I always said, like, kind of this is where faith came in. All I had seen since I had been single, I'm like, I've been single for years, maybe my standards are too high. Maybe I'm looking for this girl that's just not real, and there isn't this beautiful, godly girl that's gonna come along for the life that I have. But I always said, like, all the no's that I'll go through with women, all the times that I'll go through that short-term pain will be worth it when I find the girl that God has for me.
Yep.
And I won't regret going cold-hearted, and I can tell you for a fact, like, it is a million times over worth it. And I would have went through another 50 situationships to end up with, like, the girl I am now. So I think just having that peace in your heart that, like, I might get hurt, but I have God, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And, like, he's faithful. As long as I honor him, he'll eventually put someone in that's going to appreciate every quality of godliness and lovingness that I have for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, bro.
I love that.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, God's revealed a lot to me, especially in that realm since having a girlfriend. Because, like, even on, like, social media, I'd always make the jokes about, like, being scared of girls and never gonna have a girlfriend. And, like, it's just such a relatable thing with guys. And
I saw one of them. It was like a carousel, not a carousel. It was like a back-to-back photo where it was like, God or Jesus, provide a woman for me, and he's like, all right, here you go. And he said, I fumbled.
yeah.
Jesus just goes,
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, it's like, go talk to that girl over there. It's like, no, I'm scared. And then he's like, or here's your girl, and you're like, I fumbled her, and it's just like his hands up that meme.
No,
it's
me
so
and my
funny.
friend Will, we would look at that meme all the time. We would be dying.
It's so true, though.
It's so relatable.
It's so true.
But
It's so true.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
That's great
man.
stuff.
I think it's just encouraging for all of us. Like, I used to have people that would say to me, like, trust in God's timing. When you're not looking for it, you're going to find it. I'd be like, no, I'm not. But that's how God works with every single person that gives you advice. And I just think all of our journeys are different for it. But it's like, you keep God first. Nothing becomes an idol over him. Mm-hmm. You might go through some pain in the moment, but, like, we're men. We're going to go through a lot of suffering and a lot of pain in our life. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you endure that pain by having a strong foundation in Christ. Mm-hmm. And he is faithful. He will bless us in so many ways. And this lifetime is so short. And I don't know. I even, like, there's times in my life where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm, like, going to be Paul. Maybe this, like, this married life isn't for me. But, like, whatever, I was like, whatever God's calling me to, I'm cool with it. And I think just, like, that submission, it's like, he unfolds everything for you once you're not holding on to any idols above him. It's really cool how it works.
And you place your identity in Christ instead of some sort of identity and pursuing, like, a relationship.
Yeah, your relationship, your career, whatever. Can't be in those things.
Mm-mm.
It's very, very shaky and very coming and going and changing by the day. And
It's building your foundation on sand,
right.
to quote scripture and sound like a smart guy.
It's true, though.
Smart
Bro might know the Bible.
A little bit. Very little.
Little tidbit.
Little nugget.
Yeah, when we
Well,
talked to
like-
Cliff last time, I asked him, like, because I would always put on my story, like, how can I be praying for you? And the biggest thing was, like, heartbreak, by far.
Dang.
And I asked Cliff, I was like, what advice do you have? And he's like, my purpose in this earth isn't to have a girlfriend or have a boyfriend or any of these things, because he's like, I love my wife to death, but there's going to be a day that she goes before me and I go before her. And there's going to be a day where when I take my last breath, every person that I loved on this earth, they're going to be gone. And he's like, that's, what would he say? That's like grief and pain. But what isn't is that you have Jesus. And just that you have to realize, like, every person in this lifetime, like, we're all going to go at different times. And in the end, we're not going to have any of us. It's just going to be Jesus. And, like, that perspective of, like, when you take your last breath, that's all you have left. It's like, why would you put your identity in someone or something that is so fleeting when you have an eternal God that is there? And that perspective kind of always helps me of just remembering that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of struggle with that sometimes, just in terms of, like, a daily discipline. I feel like, obviously, like, just like the gym, like,
Right.
you know, you kind of have to, like, get in there and just work out, and you know, sometimes it's tough. Like, you kind of don't feel like it. Some days you're sad or depressed, and you're just like, man, maybe I just don't feel like opening my Bible today. Like, it's just so hard. I feel like that sometimes, and I think what you're mentioning now is so interesting because maybe maybe I'm just sharing something vulnerable, but like it's tough lately for me personally to like open the Bible, you know, and I think just the idea alone of like a conversation like this where we're just talking about the Lord and making sure it's kind of stirring my heart again. This is personal, but yeah, like I love the fact that you're sharing all these things and making sure that every single day you're waking up in the morning, first thing you're doing is making sure that you're locking in with the Lord at least for 20 minutes and praying.
Right. I'll say this too. It's like, I think social media has this thing where like people might hear me talk or see me talk about my faith and like, he just loves talking to Jesus. He just loves reading his Bible. But it's like, no, there's so many days, more often than not, that I don't want to. But a weak man is someone that is guided by their emotions. That's an erratic man that is just has no self-control. But a strong man, a biblical man, is someone that makes decisions off what has to be done. And for me, it's like, for my own self, I have to read my Bible because I know just my flesh and my desires and how astray I go without God. And it's just that idea of like, it doesn't matter to me if I want to do it. It's like, I have to do it. Yeah. And once you flip that switch, then you start to want to do it more because you see the routine and you see it, the fruits of it in your life. But I think nowadays it's like everything's like feeling. But back to like my relationship, if feelings was leading it, I would have already lost my girlfriend by now. It's just like that duty you have as a man, and it can't be led by your feelings because they're here one day and they're here the next day, and so inconsistent.
You're saying you have to, it's a choice. You have to
it's
choose,
a choice.
right?
Every day.
Just like you choose to read your Bible even when it's hard, you choose to love that person even when you guys maybe had a fight or maybe something like that. So
that's so raw.
Yeah. I mean, marriage is essentially an image of Christ. It's a choice, but it's also an image of Christ in a lot of ways. And it's supposed to be God at the center, and you two are working together to meet God in the center and make that the center and pray about that. And that is just, it is a beautiful thing. And that's what I wish for all my friends and everybody, to have God-centered marriages one day for everybody. You know, these guys right here are going to make incredible husbands one day, you know, and you're going to make an incredible husband one day. So I love hearing that. I love hearing that stuff from you. That's so cool. I think we need more men in this generation of us, our age range, who take that stand and say, I'm going to lead the household in this way, and you are going to be your own person and do your own thing too, because you're called by God as a woman to do your things and do all this, but also we have to take the lead in the household and, you know, at the end of the day, do what we can for them, as God has called us to do. My life verse is Proverbs 16:3. It says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, for he will establish your plans. And for you, sounds like you have really just tried to commit everything to the Lord, every aspect of your life. And clearly he has established your plans. He's giving you that white piece of paper that you have to walk through. And not all the map's been revealed to you yet. That's the thing. You're 23. So you have hopefully a long time, a while left on this earth, as us all hopefully do. So when you commit your plans to the Lord, he will establish your plans. And I'm seeing that through you. So
thank you, bro.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Means a lot. And there's times where I feel like I don't know, I read the book of Job and you look at something like Job and his faithfulness, but like your faithfulness to God does not mean your plan is this amazing thing that you had always prayed for. And I'm always aware in my life that I've been super blessed in the position I am, but I'm also super aware that like it can be taken like that and everything can flip upside down like that. And for me, it's that peace that I have, that my faithfulness to him isn't dependent on blessings in my life or anything like that. And I think like times like this where life feels great, it's easy to trust in him, but you need him just as much more when you feel like the things aren't going your way. And
if we did not have times of adversity, would we really need God? You know?
No.
I do think about that.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
when everything is good, you know, I'm still praising God, but would I seek Him the way that I would when things are hard?
I think we would still need him because we always have need for God.
Right.
We forget.
What I'm saying is, I think if everything was perfect, but there was still the sin nature of this world, I think, you know, a lot of people would forget about God, or they would remember Him, but they would just say, you know, they'd say their little prayer to Him and all that, but they would not truly rely on Him, because being forged in fire teaches us that we need the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Those adversities, those hard times of being smelted to be purified, remind us that we need God
Absolutely.
in those moments.
Absolutely.
Because if everything was perfect, it'd just be, thanks God, appreciate it. I'm going to
Yeah.
go chill now. You know, cool. I
Right.
said my prayer, read that verse, did my daily devotion. I'm all good. Don't need to talk to you anymore. Don't need to rely on you.
Right.
I feel like that's how it would be. Maybe not for everybody, but honestly, I think for me, if everything was perfect in my life, then I might not rely on Him as much as I do, or
Absolutely.
try to, at least. I'm still working on that as a man, as a young Christ follower. I'm trying to learn to rely on Him more. So
Like when seasons get tough, you're saying.
yes, yeah. I saw that over the past year of the Lord really just, and He's still doing a lot of pruning in my life and trying to do things to me that I don't quite understand sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to trust that He does, as hard as it is sometimes, trust that He does have something at the end, in ways for me. So as hard as it is sometimes, but yeah, thank you for sharing all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it
And
was
it's-
so raw. I kind of needed that.
Yeah,
honestly.
really.
And I appreciate your vulnerability, because it's like, if you meet any Christian and you're like, yeah, it's easy, I don't struggle, then they're probably not a Christian. Like every single one of us, we struggle so much,
Yeah.
regardless of if you are a pastor at the biggest church ever, or you
Yeah.
don't even talk about your faith. Like
Yeah.
it's Jordan Peterson's book that he's writing. It's like those who wrestle with God. Like it's a wrestle for
Yeah.
your whole life, and it's challenging, but it's like I said, it's like we are all called to make that choice every day to live for Him, and it's really cool that you have brothers around you and community around you that
And
suffers
sisters.
with those, and
Community-
sisters.
Yes, brothers and sisters in
that
Christ. Yeah.
you can rely on, because you're going through the same things, and it just takes vulnerability to realize that everyone around you is struggling with the same things in their faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And
Amen.
It's just tough to be vocal about it sometimes, you know, because I feel like the level of vulnerability is what it takes to actually like build like bonds with other Christ followers and
Yeah.
Christ believers. And I don't know, community is so important. Community is so important. Like nowadays we're at Bedrock Forest, and
Good
Bedrock
church.
It's such a good church. Bedrock Forest. I don't know, what church do you attend here in Lynchburg? Do you?
TRBC, because
Oh,
that's
no
where
way.
my girlfriend and all them go. So
Sick. That's
yeah.
where Caleb used to.
I used to go there. Good church. I just felt like I needed to move on to a different church to grow spiritually. But
yeah,
I
it's like a
I did
temporary
like
church
that
for me.
Yeah, I did like that church a whole lot.
They have like a great big old altar. It's like really cool looking, and so many people come out. We've been at Bedrock Forest now, and Bedrock Forest has been a blessing for us, especially in community. It just feels a little bit tighter. Not to say TRBC isn't. I'm just saying we're literally situated in what like isn't it Bedrock Middle School?
Yeah.
It's crazy. An
Or
auditorium.
Forest Middle School.
Forest Middle School.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's- yeah,
We're in
yeah,
a
yeah.
little cafeteria.
That's what my church is like at home, and
Yeah.
that's what I prefer. And probably when I move, well, that'll be like my long-term church, a smaller church, but TRBC is solid too. for
Yeah.
sure.
Where
Yeah.
are you planning on moving to?
I'm gonna move to Texas
Oh,
after this
sick.
year.
Texas.
Yeah.
Is it Dallas or Austin?
Dallas, yeah.
Dallas.
My
no way.
sister's there, and my little sister goes to Baylor. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so
You're-
my
you're
whole
really-
family's gonna like migrate from Mass to
Really?
Texas. Yeah, man.
Is that,
Hey, I'll come visit you,
your
bro. I'll
parents-
come
man.
get some
You
In-N-Out
should,
burger
dude.
with you, bro.
You
Wait,
should.
your parents are at Mass too?
So they're in Massachusetts, but they have the house that my sister lives in at Baylor. They own, so they're gonna end up making their way down there when my dad retires, and we
That's
just like it
sick.
a lot more down there.
Man, that's awesome. I'm taking a trip over to Dallas. I think like a week from now. Have you
Yeah.
ever
Sick,
been?
dude.
Have you ever been?
Multiple times. I was there
Oh,
in
okay.
December. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
really, you really like it.
Is it cool?
Really fun, man. Really
Sick.
fun.
Have fun in Dallas.
Yeah.
Bro, Definitely don't take me with you.
Okay, heard.
No, we'll take a road trip and
Y'all
visit
should.
you
Y'all should.
in Texas. Texas, yeah.
You guys got to. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, bro. Well, Caleb, thank you so much for your vulnerability and thank you for just being who you are, the brother in Christ that you are. I love you. I really
Love you
do.
too, bro.
So thankful for people like you. I would like to, as we end our conversation tonight, I would like to ask you to pray us out.
Absolutely.
Just let's bow our heads and go before the Lord in
Let's do
prayer.
it. Heavenly Father, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for the conversations that we've had together. We thank you for the vulnerability we've put on our heart. I just pray for everybody in this room, everybody watching this, that we all turn our hearts to you, regardless of if we feel like it, that we put you first in our life, that we seek your kingdom first, and we just fully trust that worrying and stressing and anxiety will never do anything for our life, but our faith in you will just deliver so many amazing things for us. So I just pray that we continue to seek you with everything that we have. We seek godliness in our life, and we just turn away from our flesh and fully give our heart to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Boys, let's bring it in for one last little clink here. Let's go. For the kingdom, everybody. For the kingdom. Yeah. Wow.
Coffee's so good on this. It's like really watery.